measure influencer? We honestly believe that we cracked the
It
code.
was a big deal.
Shocking discovery in the Amazon. Stick around.
Welcome to the Influencer Marketing Show. I am Brad.
And Joel.
Hello from Detroit. If you're watching this, you are probably already aware that Joel and I are part of the Out Loud group. We are an influencer marketing agency. And I share that because we do work with a lot of brands in the influencer space. And one of the key questions we're getting is, well, how do you measure this? And a lot of brands, when they're trying to figure it out, like there's publicly available data, and then they have the back end of their system. So there's part of it that is clearly attributable. But we always know that there's people who are responding to an influencer program, but don't necessarily show up using the attributable links. So to date, the best solution has really been to try to identify what customers you've acquired tell you, right? So these are stated behaviors in terms of where they came to find you, because maybe someone came in through search, but they can tell you like, oh, actually a YouTube influencer told me. So that's always sort of been a best practice around the industry, but that has never been satisfying to me or to Joel, right?
Right. No, the post-purchase attribution, it's fine. It maybe directionally tells you something, but it's, unsatisfying is absolutely the right word.
Stated behavior. My favorite analogy here is you fly an airline, you have a really shitty experience. You're like, I'm never flying American again. You know, you tweet about it. 3 months later, you're booking a family vacation, and it's $20 ticket, cheaper per ticket to fly American. You're like, we're flying American. Honey, get ready to go to Disney World on American, right? So what we really want to see is observed behavior. So Joel, this is something you were really adamant about. We need to do better. We need to do better. We need to do better. And I actually think we've got something that most people are not aware of that's extremely valuable, that's not looking at it through the lens of a brand, but it's looking at it through the lens of the consumer or the user. So tell us, what the heck is this big insight that we have?
Yeah, for sure. So you have run a TV campaign, right? And for most brands, there's gonna be some kind of direct response element of your TV campaign. Not at all. I mean, if you're big enough and you're just doing a big brand thing, what have you, that's fine. But what you're still gonna do is you're still gonna do spot attribution with your TV campaign, right? So even on your TV campaign, there is a unique URL or there's a promo code that you're sending people to. You know that you're not capturing everybody there. And so you're going to do spot attribution. You're going to look at the spike in traffic based on a certain geo at a certain time, within 4 to 7 minutes of whenever the spot goes, and you're checking out what the response is happening there. The exact same dynamic exists in YouTube, but here's the problem. You can't do spot attribution in YouTube because the views aren't concurrent, and normally each individual YouTube channel, when it drops, it's not going to be big enough to rise above your baseline noise.
Okay, so this seems like a big problem, right? So
it's a huge problem.
In theory, you have the same content, whether it's concurrent views or whether it's video on demand. But like you said, you can't really measure the spike on your website because the views are spread out over 24, 48 hours, up to a month, up to 2 months, up to
for sure.
years.
Some of them super long tail. Yeah. So, but this is what we want to establish here. The TV thing is this behavior exists. We know that this behavior exists.
Right.
And there's a ratio between those that use some kind of promo code and then those that just visit either through direct URL or through some kind of web search, right? You already know that ratio for TV. So we're hoping that you'll be convinced that it's not a big jump to say, hey, this observed behavior in this domain actually applies equally to this domain as well. That was our thesis. That's what we want, or our hypothesis, rather.
Yes.
Apologies. That was our hypothesis. This is what we set out to prove. So what did we do? Well, we partnered with a company that had a whole boatload of users that had signed up for basically web monitoring, internet security, web monitoring, web browsing. We won't say the company, but
largest.
This one is, but they had all this anonymized data. All PPI was stripped out of it. And their typical product is, hey, someone just landed and bought on your website. Do you want to know what they did in the 3 days, 7 days, whatever, prior to landing on your website for purchasing? And then the company would develop all this behavioral science around what led something to that purchase and what were the clues and what can we take advantage of. we flipped that around and said, hey, look, there's we gave them a list of here's 150 different YouTube integrations we've done. How many people out of your panel have seen this video? And out of their panel, or these videos, out of their panel of like 10 million, we got like 600,000 people out of that panel that had witnessed those videos and watched them. We're like, that's great, that's enough. Okay, here's what we want to do.
Well, let me just pause here. So this internet security company, they have 10 million users, and then we were able to identify 150 pieces of content that creators had developed, put out on YouTube. They all have individual URLs, so specific URLs for that content. And we were able to identify about 600,000 of those 10 million who've now watched these pieces of content, right? Am I tracking with you here?
Yeah. And then we were able to, from there, say, okay, we've watched that content. Now, we want to establish a ratio. How many people use a unique URL or promo code, okay? And then how many people go and just do a direct URL or do a web search? And let's look at this over, a period of 2 weeks, not just a period of 1 day or 124-hour period.
Right.
Recognizing that there's a behavior, you found something interesting, and you want to go talk to your partner about it. You're driving, you can't get to it right then, etc. Right? So this was a pretty actually like really tight and worthwhile experiment, because we can see observed data of how many people watched it, what was the percentage of people that watched it that went on to use a unique URL or a promo code, and then how many people just went direct attribution. What we also did for a couple of the brands that we did the study with that were available on third-party websites like Amazon or Best Buy or Target, we were also able to see who went and bought on those and threw this product in their shopping cart when they were doing other things, right?
Which is really powerful, because most of the time, if you're watching this, your brand, and you're usually looking at things through your back end, whether it's Google Analytics or Shopify, whatever system you're using, this is not what we were doing, right? We were working through the end user. All these people had opted in through free internet security to, you know the drill, right? If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. So these are folks who've opted into allowing themselves to be tracked around, anonymized and aggregated, seeing what they're following. So that's where the power of this isn't coming from the brand. This is coming from the users who've opted in. And boom, you've got clickstream data study here, which gives you really powerful insights that brands on their own just they don't have access to that.
Right, because you can't look behind the walled gardens, which is what we're able to do here. So here's what's interesting. We got two ratios out of this: one for traffic, one for conversions. Right. Okay. Now, before I give you what the ratio is, this is what I want to say. Within the podcast world, you have pixel tracking, where you're dropping a pixel in the RSS feed and then looking to see, who comes later, and it's a, typically like a 28-day, 30-day pixel, right?
Sure.
All right. We saw a ratio with traffic and conversions there as well. And then you also have the TV data that I started out with. All of these are remarkably consistent. This is the ratios that we keep seeing over and over and over again. For traffic, for every one visit that you can see, there were about another 5. For conversions, for every one that you can see, there were about another 3 to 3.5 conversions that you couldn't see, that happened organically and just goes into your dark pool of unattributed traffic, unattributed conversions, which we know for most companies is about half your traffic, half of your conversions. You don't know where they're coming from.
Right.
So this is speaking, to some of that. And we know that every single channel you have is laying claim to the entire 50% of those unattributed.
Yeah.
We've actually got really, really good data, and it's remarkably consistent. It was consistent across brands. It was consistent across time frame.
Right.
It was consistent across types of product. And because this lines up with what we see in podcast pixel tracking and TV, we feel very, very confident that this is the case. So when you run an influencer campaign, if you're looking at traffic, know that you're getting 4x the traffic, right? And then when you're looking at conversions,
because there's the attributable and unattributable, it gets confusing, right?
Yeah.
So for every one attributable like session or traffic to your website, you're getting around 5. So that's actually 1 in 6 that you were identifying historically, right? So because there's the 5 that are quote unquote unattributable that you weren't seeing, but we can see through the clickstream data. study.
Yeah.
And then also same story, right?
On
With
the
respect to
conversions, for every one that you can see, there was like another 3.5.
So you're only identifying 1 and 4, right? So
Right.
1 + 3 is 4. So you're only
Right.
seeing one of the 4, which is huge, right?
Which
Like
is massive.
influencer marketing in this case on YouTube, although I think we both feel very strongly the same principle applies across platforms, but you're only seeing 25% of the conversions when you're looking at the data that you have pulled up, and that's powerful stuff.
Yeah. So we've got a white paper on our website, outloudgroup.com. You can find it there. Obviously, follow us on social, or if you're having trouble finding it, you want to start the conversation about this, hit us up. We love talking about this. We find it's interesting. And you know, our brands that we work with, they've really benefited from it, and they've appreciated the research. They've been able to change and redirect their spend, redirect their allocation, and they have benefited from it. And it is proven out with brands that have adopted this and done it. So anyways, thanks for hanging out. We will see you all next time.
Until next time.